Okie dokie. What is up,
Oh
the great
boy.
people of YouTubes?
Okie dokie artichokey. That's what I heard.
Yep, you heard right.
Um,
Hi
I
darn,
heard
how you darn. What's Gucci? Anybody else in the chat kind of have like this like hangover, depression hangover for Aaron Rodgers? Like,
yeah.
it was hard. It was kind of hard to like watch the game when he was out, and then you just kind of realize like, damn, I'm not a Jets fan, but I feel their pain.
No,
You know?
100%. 1,000%. Don't wish that on anyone. I mean, I said this to you, and I've said it in our French chat and as well. Um, I am happy. It sounds crazy, but I'm happy that we lost 40-0, then lose our star player for the rest of the season on week 1 with only 4 snaps. I mean, like, comparing the situations, every other person would rather have their team get blown out and embarrassed
Absolutely.
than lose your star player. And I wish that was the case for the Jets. I wish they were like, oh shit, Aaron Rodgers is bad. I'd rather have had that, you know?
Yeah.
I'd rather that every single day over him getting injured, but that is
Yeah.
so sad.
Agreed.
Crazy.
All right, guys, we're going to start answering some of your week 2 fantasy football questions. Do us a favor, go ahead and smash that like button if you are joining us and you have yet to have hit it. Go ahead and smash the like button, help support the channel. Appreciate the love and the support over the last couple weeks. Here's how it's going to work. We're going to answer your questions in order. However, if you do want your question answered straight away, go ahead and use Super Chat. Drop an amount of any amount. If you drop a Super Chat, we will answer your question as a priority, and then we'll get back to everyone in order. So the first one today, I believe, is from Cedric here. From Cedric. Yo, start 2 running backs and 1 flex, full PPR. All right, let's get into it. I released my rankings over on the Flock Fantasy website, so I'm prepared for today.
Here we go.
Let's see. Start 2 running backs and 1 flex, full PPR. Saquon, then 2 of Walker, Gibbs, or Algier. I'm also benching London in favor of Hopkins. I think that last thing that you said is a good move. I would not be starting Drake London. In fact, thanks for the sub, Marquise. We released a video today. I gave you guys my start and sits wide receivers of the week. Drake London was a sit for me. Someone commented saying, you're crazy, Drake London has to be started. And I'm like, I don't know how you feel so confident after 1 target
I
and
have no
20
idea.
routes run. But fair enough. There are people out there who are still starting Drake London. I think probably 95% of the population has a better option. So I like that you're starting Hopkins in favor of him. But we have to answer the question. Basically, it's Walker, Gibbs, or Algier. And I know Algier was incredible week 1. I'm not suggesting that he won't be great in week 2, but if I had to make this decision for my team, I would be starting Kenneth Walker and Jahmyr Gibbs over Algier, assuming those are the 2 options that I have. I don't know about you.
No, yeah, I completely agree. And I did bring Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery both as must starts coming into this week. They're playing the Seattle Seahawks, who gave up the 8th most fantasy points to the running back position. I know Jahmyr Gibbs is still in question, but remember, these rookies are going to progress week in and week out.
Yes.
Jahmyr Gibbs had 7 carries for I forgot off the top of my head. He had 7 carries for
45 yards. Yeah, it was super
45
efficient.
yards, 6 yards per carry. Exactly, extremely efficient. I think that's going to continue, especially in the air versus the Seattle Seahawks, who just gave up hella points to Kyren Williams.
Yeah.
And
you also have to keep in mind that I don't think the Lions anticipated the game being that. How do I say, like, in other games, they will not be able to run that much. You know, like, they will have to throw the ball a little bit more, and that favors Jahmyr Gibbs. Daniel Kobe, first off, thank you for being a member on the channel. Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'll be at work at this point, but what do you guys think of Gainwell, and should he start over Miles Sanders? I know your answers, but I'm curious. So for that first one, I think, like, here's what I'll say about Gainwell, because I think there might be a lot of questions. I think we should operate moving forward as if he is the one to start if you are to start an Eagles running back. However, overall, I would say there are typically going to be at least 20 running backs I would prefer to start on a weekly basis over any Eagles running back. And I have been a huge anti-Swift guy the entire offseason. I've told you guys to sell him before, the week one even began. But even I can admit that Swift is probably going to be used more than what he was in week one, right? So,
agreed.
If Gainwell's healthy this week, he'll be the starter, but I'm still going with Miles Sanders, I believe. Let me double check my rankings. Who does Miles play? I need to remember. Miles plays the Saints. Not a great matchup, but I'll still rock with him over Gainwell. Gainwell is my RB24 on the week. But yeah, I'm gonna go with with Carolina there. And
I'm going Miles Sanders. One thing to say about Kenneth Gainwell is, I think a lot of that, if he didn't get those opportunities in the air, I think we wouldn't be having the conversation we're having right now, personally.
But he did.
I think
we have to acknowledge that.
And I think the reason why is because DeAndre Swift wasn't utilized the way at all, essentially.
Exactly. And that happened. We have to acknowledge it. We have to adjust,
I would just say, this could be, I think Kenneth Gainwell this week, maybe not this week, because they're playing the Vikings, and I think they can.
Thanks for the sub, Kumar.
Have a repeat of last year, but this could be a trap game.
Could be. Any game could be a trap game for sure for most people. Just Flow says, won my week by 0.48. No thanks to London, with my opponent playing Josh Allen. Yes, Drake London was a massive disappointment.
Awesome,
you cannot start him in week 2, so I'm glad you got the win. Costas, go ahead with this one.
Yeah, Costas, pick one full flex PPR: Godwin, Mostert, Nakua, Dotson, Gainwell, Kyren Williams, Nico Collins. So pick one for the flex. I am still going Jahan Dotson. I think you have to continue to go with him. If I'm not mistaken, last week he didn't have a phenomenal game, but I think you have to understand what type of work he got 7 targets in week 1, and I think that's going to continue coming in. So I'm going Jahan Dotson. I think it might be a little bit different for Zach. He's also playing, by the way, the Broncos, which is not the best matchup.
That's what I was about to say. That's not a good matchup. Yeah, it would be Godwin for me. He goes up against the Bears. He wasn't the lead target there, but I think there'll be better weeks ahead for him. And another week where Terry gets healthy. I'm not starting Terry either if I can help it. But I think if Godwin's an option, I would go Godwin there. What's up, V Rosado? Early bird gets the worm. I got to start Zay Flowers over Drake London, right? Yes. You think Zay can be my flex play? Yes. I would go Zay over Drake London this week. However, we do have to manage expectations. Keep in mind, Mark Andrews did not play. But to get 10 targets in your first ever game as a rookie, I would be curious how many rookie wide receivers in their debut got 10 targets. Now, obviously Mark Andrews wasn't there, but yeah, he's a good play over London, I would say, for sure.
I completely agree there. Just put an asterisk on it because Andrews can come back, so I completely agree. Just Flow.
And by the way, sorry, Lazard. I just want to add one more thing to anyone out there as Zay Flowers. There was a metric that was released on Twitter. I can't remember who released it, but it was first read targets, meaning when the quarterback, hiked the ball, who did he look at first in target? Zay Flowers was like top 3 in the league in week 1. So keep that in mind.
Awesome. That's awesome. Just Flow, once again, I'm ready to drop Lazard, Swift, and Kirk to hit the waivers. I have London, Dotson, Cooper, and St. Brown at wide receiver. I'm worried about London and Pitts. I would say this, I'm not panicking on Christian Kirk. I think there's going to be better days.
Yeah. I wouldn't drop Swift either. I would drop Lazard, though.
I wouldn't drop Swift. I would drop Lazard, especially with Zach Wilson not being in play. So keep that in mind as well. Brenton, he said, who is better claim off waiver, Roscoe, Kyren, or Joshua Kelly? I think all these guys should be rostered personally, but if I had to put it in order, I would say I think it's a toss-up between Roscoe and Kelly. It just really depends on what is Austin Ekeler's status. Is he going to play this week, which I do believe he will. I think I would go Roscoe with the long-term upside than Joshua Kelly, who is just the backup until Austin Ekeler comes back.
Yeah, I might advocate for Kyren here. just because the usage was very intriguing to me, and in a PPR format, Cam Akers was not really involved at all through the year. And I imagine this team is going to be down in games. They're not going to always be beating a team that comes out flat like the Seahawks. Seahawks will be better as well, but I might go Kyren. Kelly, I'll say this. Kelly, to me, feels like the short-sighted option of any of the players you mentioned.
Yeah.
Just because when Eckler is back, I understand Eckler played this week, but we know now he was dealing with an ankle injury, right? So we know that Kelly had a role for a reason. I'm not saying Kelly will be bad or he'll be irrelevant. What I am saying is I think Kelly is the one with the least potential to be a starter in the playoffs, right? In 4 weeks from now, right? Whereas I would go Kyren and Rashawn over Kelly long term. Like, if you have Austin Eckler, yeah, you got to go out and you got to get Joshua Kelly. So it depends on that situation. But hey, guys, shout out to the 63 people watching. Can you go ahead and smash that like button for us? Can we get to 50 likes? 63 of you. 50 likes seems very attainable. Go ahead and hit that like button if you have yet to do so. If you don't know what we're doing, we are answering Week 2 fantasy football questions. Drop your questions in the chat. If you want your question answered straight away, you want it prioritized, then go ahead and drop a super chat and we will get to it straight away. Shane, start to Lockett, Mike Evans, Addison, and Zay Jones. For me, I think this would be Lockett and Mike Evans. I need to double check. I do expect Lockett and that entire offense to be better. But Addison looked great in week 1. He's my wide receiver 28 this week. Evans is my wide receiver 26. I just prefer Mike Evans versus the Bears rather than Addison versus the Eagles.
The Eagles, exactly. That's it. That's where I would lean there. So give me Lockett and Mike Evans. Patrick Mahoney. Hey guys, Patrick Mahomes here again. Appreciate you, Pat. I'm sorry for the loss. You can bounce back. Tell Kadarius Toney he's shit. Should I start? Should I start Romeo Doubs over Terry? Doubs had 18 points and Terry had 5 in week 1. I mean, what a Dukes by the Green Bay Packers saying, oh, Dobbs is just going to be limited and then scores freaking 2 touchdowns. Well, he gets, 7 targets? Something ridiculous like that. I mean, a classic bullshit type of tweet. Anyways, Terry against the Broncos or Romeo against who he's playing, the Atlanta Falcons. I think I'm going Romeo over Terry this week if he does get a full slate, full goal again.
I would still go Terry here, even though Terry is one of my sits of the week. I think there's a couple reasons why. Firstly, yes, okay, just let's say this from the beginning before we continue with the stream, right? Week 1 is week 1. Week 2 will not look like week 1. Things will be different. Things will change, right? Players that you were excited about. I mean, maybe Puka Nacua comes out and puts up 3 points, right? I mean, we don't know. We think he's going to be great. He's my number 1 pickup of the week. But week 2 is not week 1, okay? So let's just say that first. It's not a great matchup for Terry, but I think Romeo Doubs had the advantage of no Christian Watson. If Christian Watson does play, I assume that he will be the number 1 target.
That
I'm not
is a huge
saying
factor as well.
I'm not going to sit here and say like Doubs is irrelevant. I think he'll be the number 2 weapon there. But I don't think it's just automatic that he will get, a touchdown and, the massive target share. So, Terry, another week healed from the toe. I don't like this question in general because I don't know which way it will go. But if I had to make the decision, I will put Terry in myself. So yeah, it's a tough call for sure.
I think it's definitely a good conversation to talk about Christian Watson if he does play, or if he does play. I think you might have to resort to Terry. But if he doesn't, I have confidence in Dobbs.
Yeah,
coming in here.
I agree. If Watson doesn't play, I'll have to change that answer.
Yeah. All right. Next person got offered London for Raheem Mostert straight up. Do you think it's worth adding Elijah Moore or JSN? First of all, I don't want Raheem Mostert. I know it sounds crazy. I know London just dropped a goose egg. Like Zach just said, week 1 is not going to be week 2. I would rather have Drake London long term than Raheem right now, and I will also love Elijah Moore. So I'm keeping Drake London. Don't panic. I think it is.
Okay, but hold on. He's saying if the other player adds Elijah Moore or Jackson Smith-Njigba, and you only send away London, I'll tell you right now, it doesn't matter if it's Elijah or if it's JSN. If you're telling me I get Elijah Moore or JSN and Raheem Mostert, I know we're worried about Mostert, I'll take that for Drake London alone. Like, absolutely, I would do that. And I would prefer JSN.
I think there is. I would prefer Elijah Moore if I'm doing this trade, obviously. Look, this one's tough because I don't think what we saw in the expectation for Drake London, I hope that is not going to be the same, and I'm giving him one more week. I think he is at the very top of my list of time to panic, but I'm still giving him grace. But maybe next week is too late. That's what I would say. So I hope that's enough information. I just don't want Raheem Mostert long term. I still would rather have.
Come on,
Drake
though.
London.
Like, if someone offered you right now Raheem Mostert and Elijah Moore for London, you're not hitting accept.
I'm not saying that I'm not. I'm just saying I'm still giving him grace. That's what I'm saying.
I'll give him grace, and I'll let him have grace on someone else's team. Give me Raheem and JSN there. I would do that in a heartbeat, personally.
That's fine.
Akshay says, are you doing team questions? No. If you guys do want, like, personalized, like, hey, what are the strengths and weaknesses of my team? We offer that over on the Flock Fantasy website. Anyone who uses the promo code LAND and signs up to the Mother Flocker tier, you get something called the Fantasy Hotline, which is a direct DM where you can ask us those kind of questions, and we can offline break your teams down. Frank, thank you so much for the super chat, man.
Thank you so much, man.
We'll answer your questions straight away. Appreciate you. Appreciate the support. He says, I have Pollard, Hall, Wilson, Ridley, Waller. My best flex is Dotson. Should we move Wilson and Waller? I would not be moving Darren Waller right now. Week 1 is not an indication, of the rest of the year, okay? He's going to be much better. Good matchup this week versus the Arizona Cardinals. So, yeah, if I had Waller, I would not be moving him right now. It's not the right time. And as far as Garrett Wilson goes, I am open to moving Garrett Wilson, and I will tell you the names that I would move him away for. Okay, let's get some of the names out of the way that you're probably not going to happen, right? Tyreek, Jamar Chase, Jefferson, Diggs, A.J. Brown, Calvin Ridley, Devonta Smith, Amon-Ra, Chris Olave, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Waddle, right? Devontae Adams. But here's a list of further names that I would be willing to move off of Wilson for. Keenan Allen.
I'm there with
DK Metcalf, T. Higgins. I think T. Higgins is possible because of the game he just had.
Agreed.
Brandon Ayuk. Maybe can't get that one done. Amari Cooper. So
definitely can get that done.
And maybe even like a Deebo Samuel potentially. But yeah, it's just I just don't want a year of Zach Wilson.
Yeah, the expectations with Zach Wilson or Garrett Wilson is going to drop. Don't expect him. You probably draft him as your wide receiver 1. He's not going to have that ceiling anymore. He may have these spike games, maybe games where he gets 10 targets, but only catches 5 out of those 10, and maybe he gets a touchdown. It's not going to be efficient whatsoever, unfortunately. So
yeah.
But appreciate you, Frank. Thank you so much, brother.
Yeah, thank you for the super chat. Again, guys, if you want your questions answered straight away, drop a super chat and we will prioritize them. 80 people watching the stream, 30 likes. Hey, can you help us get to 50? Go ahead and smash that like button. Help us get to 50. Why do we ask you to hit the like button? Because you're just helping us grow the channel. You're helping us reach more people. So do us a favor as we answer your questions. Go ahead and smash that like button. Okay, Zap says Dalvin Cook or Khalil Herbert in week 2. Khalil Herbert, if I'm not mistaken, I really don't like his matchup.
It's playing the Bucks here and the Jets playing the Cowboys.
It would be Dalvin
the matchup. I don't like the matchup for either. I mean,
That's
the Cowboys, obviously, you saw what they did to my beloved Giants here. So if I had to choose one just based off matchup, I feel like I have to go Khalil Herbert, but I don't love it. I don't love either of these matchups.
I would go Dalvin. I mean, I know that it wasn't the best matchup, but keep in mind he played the Buffalo Bills. That's already a really good team defensively, and he got 13 touches, 3 targets through the air. And as far as the opposite side of that, Khalil Herbert had, what was it? I think it was 14 touches. So very similar. I don't think you can really go wrong with that answer. I don't think one's going to like make or break your week, but I would just lean Dalvin slightly.
I would lean Dalvin as well. We have a couple super chats here. Russian says, how about them Cowboys? First of all, appreciate you. Second of all, I can't say anything.
I watched, okay, I'll say something then, because I watched the Sunday Night Football game with Badaki and a couple friends. Thanks for the sub, Craig. As you guys know, Badaki's a Giants fan. And he came to the stream we were in a Discord chat, and he had his Saquon Barkley jersey on. He was excited. He was full of life. He was hyping up New York Football Giants Saquon Barkley. It's a new year, and it took about 10 minutes for him to be like, "Wow, this is rough." Like the atmosphere changed very quickly.
We started strong. We drove the ball down. We were running the ball down. I mean, Saquon in that span was averaging like 4 to 5 yards per carry. I was like, look at the run game here. And then everything just goes to shit. False start. 1, Andrew Thomas. Second snap, John Michael Smith freaking throws it over Daniel Jones' head, and then an incomplete pass, and then we go for the field goal, and it's a blocked field goal. When you have special teams score, a defensive score, and then offense, you're gonna lose the game. I don't care who it is. I'm pretty sure that's 100% on the dot that every team loses the game when you have that. Every team is going to win that game if you have all three scoring on all three sides of the ball, phases of the ball. So, anyways, congratulations. That's all I can say.
The Cowboys look legit, and I'll say that, as a Commanders fan. Sing, what's up, man? It looks like this is your first super chat, so thank you for the donation. He says, should I start Gabe Davis or Njoku in my flex position? Both are going to be inconsistent, but I think one has a higher ceiling than the other, and that would be Gabe Davis. So I think that would be Gabe Davis for me versus the Raiders this week.
Yeah, I am going Gabe Davis versus the Raiders. Off a bounce back loss from the Bills. They're going to come off strong here at home as well. You have to envision that Gabe Davis bomb touchdown coming at some point, without a doubt. And so I'm going there.
Can I just say as well, to anyone out there, if anyone in your league is panicking about Josh Allen, now is the time to go make a trade. We had someone over in the fantasy hotline. I can't remember who it is. Might have been ATJ. I can't remember. But they said, they're basically like, hey, someone's going to send me, who was it? Was it like Tua for Josh Allen straight up? And I was like, yes. Take the Josh Allen side right now. Like, don't overthink that. Take Josh Allen. Madison or Brian Robinson. So
I'll be honest with you, Angus. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, Madison doesn't have the best matchup at all, but Brian Robinson has maybe potentially just as bad of a matchup.
Exactly.
So they're both terrible matchups. I'm going to go Alexander Madison there. I think that's the better offense I'd rather be attached to.
Exactly. I'm going to Alexander Madison. Both of these guys are must-sits for me just based off of their matchup, especially Madison is playing a Thursday night game against the Eagles. Brian Robinson against the Denver Broncos. I mean, who just held Josh Jacobs to, less than 10 points. He was a very disappointing player to play this week. So keep that in mind. I don't want any of these guys starting, but I'm going Alexander Madison.
What's up, Big Breakfast? Akshay says start one this week. Evans, Addison, and Pickens. Also, thoughts on these three players rest of season. Rest of season, I still prefer Addison. That's how it was before the year for me. But this week, I'm probably starting Evans of these three.
Yeah, this one's really interesting. I like George Pickens coming in. I think I need to see him one more time.
Plays Cleveland. Yeah, I'll go Mike Evans versus Chicago.
He plays Cleveland. Mike Evans versus Chicago just seems ideal. But once again, I don't feel confident in Baker Mayfield. But what we saw, you kind of have to ride with it. So I'm going Mike Evans as well. Chris, how do I... it says rest of season.
I would prioritize Addison rest of season.
Addison. Yeah, I would agree. How do I even deal with Rodgers' injury if I have Wilson? We kind of spoke about it earlier. Try to trade Wilson if you can. I don't know if it's be the best time to trade him. But sorry, brother. I mean, I'm in the same boat, and I think we both are. Yeah, we both are. So I think we are going to see what we can get, and if not, then you might have to ride with him, unfortunately.
Yeah, he'll still be fine. He doesn't have top 5 ceiling anymore, does he?
No.
Terry McLaurin and Mike Willie. Mike Williams is one of my starts of the week. I'll rock with him.
Yeah, I'm going Mike with the matchup there. I agree.
Do I prioritize getting Tua or Algier? Lost Dobbins, but I have Bijan and also have Waddle. If this is a 1 quarterback league, I would prioritize Algier. You can. And Tua is going to be great. I'm comfortable with Tua as my quarterback for sure. But I would be prioritizing the running back there in a 1 quarterback league.
Agreed. Completely agreed.
MP. You're not alone, man. You're not alone.
Yeah. Kula. Do I start? Um, do you think I should start Juju, Michael Thomas, or D Hop for flex? I think we both say D Hop coming into
Yes.
this week.
Yes, we would, but Michael Thomas does have a very good matchup. So I
Against the
do like Michael
Panthers.
Thomas this week, but yeah, I would also agree with you that uh, DeAndre Hopkins is the best start this week. Hey guys, by the way, if you want access to my rankings, I rank 300 plus players every single week. Then if you want access to that, all you need to do is sign up with our promo code LAN to the Flock Fantasy website. I'll go ahead and show you guys, give you a little sneak peek. Just dropped it this morning. Over 300 plus players ranked: quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, defense. Start sits at the position of each week for every position as well. You can see we got a bunch of people looking at it at the moment here. But again, use our promo code LAND when signing up. And if you choose the Mother Flocker tier, then you will access the fantasy hotline. That you'll unlock that as well, which is a direct DM to us for advice. So there are a couple ways of hearing exactly our thoughts. That's one of them if you want, and I'll update that obviously with injuries and news throughout the week. Shout out to the 100 plus people watching the stream. Please go ahead and smash that like button for us. Just a simple way for you to return the favor as we answer your questions. Help grow the channel. Be a friend. Smash the like button for us. Let's get 50 likes at least. Let's go ahead and answer the next question.
Yeah, Cap, thank you so much, Owen, for the sub. So gentlemen, need a wide receiver and need a wide receiver 2 in a flex. Puka, Shaheed, or Robinson, or Bourne.
Which Robinson though?
Yeah, which Robinson? That's a lot of Robinsons. But let us know if you can clarify that. But I mean, off the top of my head, I feel like it's gonna be Puka and Shaheed. I mean,
but
Allen Robinson.
What Robinson could that? Maybe you're right. Maybe Allen. Like in my mind, automatically went Bijan, but.
Yeah, I mean, if it's Bijan, of course it's going to be Bijan. But I'm thinking Brian Robinson could be as well.
Yeah, could be Brian Robinson. Yeah,
I think it's Puka and Shaheed potentially, especially with Shaheed's matchup against the Carolina Panthers.
He said it's Allen Robinson. He said that down below. I saw. So yeah, it would be Puka and Shaheed for us. Traded London for Godwin in redraft before the season began. Boy, I'm glad I did. I like that move. Man. Well done.
Yeah, that's great.
Start 2, London, Elijah Moore, Javonte Williams, Nico Collins. For me, it would be Javonte Williams and maybe Nico Collins. I'll need to double check. That's one of my starts of the week, Nico Collins this week. Where do I have Elijah Moore ranked? Yeah, it would be Nico Collins and Javonte Williams for me. Nico Collins goes up against the Colts. That secondary looked extremely inexperienced last week. And Nico got a ton of targets. There was only 5 wide receivers who had more targets than Nico Collins in week 1. So I'll go Nico and Javonte Williams there.
Yeah, Nico getting 11 targets, which is absolutely crazy. I'm going Javonte Williams and Elijah Moore. I mean, Elijah Moore didn't have the best game. A weather game affected him. Got 7 targets this past week. So I'm still riding with my hope in Elijah Moore. Caught 3 out of 7 targets, and he got used in the backfield as well, which is also pretty incredible, I thought. So
yeah,
give me Elijah Moore and Javonte. Start Herbert or Gainwell.
See, this is a good question. Like, to me, this is Gainwell if Gainwell's healthy.
I agree. If I'm going Gainwell as well here.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a crazy one. Who should I pick up? I have the number 1 waiver wire, Tyler Algier or Joshua Kelly. I would go Tyler Algier.
Same. It would be Algier for me. I think Kelly, again, is, ask yourself, who could you start not only now, but in 4 or 5 weeks from now? I don't know that Kelly is the answer there. I don't know that Algier is the answer either, by the way, but he feels like the better answer to the question.
Yeah, completely agree. What do I do with Wilson? My wide receivers are Wilson. I mean, look, with Wilson, once again, we kind of spoke about it earlier. You kind of just have to either ride it or try to sell him for the players that we did name earlier.
Yeah. A couple ideas of names. Just anyone who has Wilson, we'll go ahead and say it right now. Hopefully you're listening. So we're all on the same page. If you have Wilson, you either hold him and, ride out the inconsistencies, or you trade him for a name like Jalen Waddle. You trade him for a name like Devontae Adams, Keenan Allen, T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, Brandon Ayuk, Amari Cooper. Those are some names that you could potentially try in trades.
How low are you going? That's the real question.
I think that's how low I'm going. Like, the next name on my list was like a DeAndre Hopkins, DJ Moore, and I'm keeping I'm keeping Garrett Wilson in that scenario. I guess you could take a shot on some of these Bucks receivers, but even then, I'd rather just hold on to Garrett Wilson, knowing he's clearly going to be the highest targeted player there. So, that's the line for me, I guess.
Agreed. I would agree there. Hopefully that helps out for all the Wilson owners out there. Chris,
we did just receive a super chat.
We did.
So let's get to that straight away. We do prioritize super chats, guys. If you want your question answered straight away, thank you, Singh, for the super chat. It says New England defense or Atlanta. Let me check my rankings. So New England, they face obviously the Vikings, and Atlanta faces the Packers.
New England faces the Dolphins.
My bad.
Atlanta faces the Packers.
Yes,
I don't like
either
of these matchups personally.
Yeah. I'll say this: neither of those are ranked in my top 16 this week. Top 15.
I'm gonna go with the talent of the defense, and I'm still going New England and Bill Belichick. But I don't like that matchup personally against the Dolphins.
I would go New England too, but I think there's better options on most people's waiver wire. The Bucks versus Chicago, Steelers versus Cleveland. I would even play the Jets at Dallas, as crazy as that sounds, over because of the amount of talent on that defense.
Yeah.
I mean, how many turnovers did they force versus 4. A good team?
4 turnovers.
I would even go Giants at Arizona. So yeah, there's a lot of better options out there, but hopefully that helps answer the question.
Yeah, thank you so much for that super chat, man.
Let's go ahead and set a like goal on the stream of 100 likes. 110 people watching. Can you help us get to 100 likes? With your help, I think we can. What happens if everyone who's watching right now were to hit the like button at the same moment? I want to see how many likes we could get if we all did that. So let's count down here. 3, 2, 1. Everyone smash the like button. Let's see. Just public experiment. How many likes can we get all at once?
Currently
2.
Thank you so much. I'm not jokes. We appreciate you, whether you're watching or not. If you're liking, it doesn't really matter.
Oh, no, there you go. 12 people liked it. Okay, 12 people at once. That's pretty good. We'll take that. 13.
We're moving up.
Okay, so next question here.
Chris, would you drop Jalen Reed or Mingo for
both?
Puka? Yeah, I would go both. I think I would drop Reed because Mingo can be the number 1 guy moving on in the future. Personally, that's how I'm thinking.
Yeah, I would prefer to drop Reed too, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of names that I would drop for Puka, guys. There's a lot of names. So yeah, I mean, if you have Tyler Boyd, the Kansas City wide receivers, Lazard, Marvin Mims. If I had to make the decision, Rashad Bateman. Quentin Johnston. I know you love him, but for redraft purposes, I think you agree, right?
Yeah, redraft purposes. Yeah, 100%.
We can't just ignore. I mean, he made history. I know, again, we don't expect that to happen every week, but he made history.
Yeah.
He's like one of 2 receivers drafted in the 5th round or onwards who had the amount of yards he had in week 1, so in their debut.
Yeah.
We can't just ignore that. Again, is he going to be a top 10 wide receiver this year? No. But he could be top 30 for sure.
It's good to know that he is somebody that, if that is the case, when Cooper Kupp does come back, maybe he's also a good person for Matthew Stafford to lean on. Let's see what that is for the next 4 weeks. Because we haven't even seen a workload like that with Van Jefferson with Matthew Stafford before anyone else.
No,
so that's what's really exciting.
Yeah.
All right, next question. Do I package running back Herbert and tight end Goddard for a true RB2? I personally don't want to move from Dallas Goddard right now. But if you do have good tight end depth, I would say I'm happy. It all depends on who that running back is going to be.
Yeah, I think if you have the tight end depth, I'd be willing to make a move like that. If I can get a, like the names that come to mind are like a Josh Jacobs or Ken Walker or Joe Mixon, I'd be willing to make a move like that for sure.
I agree. Angus says, should I trade Mike Evans and Madison for T? I can get more. I think at this very moment, with T dropping a goose, it may be hard to get more, but in reality, you should.
The way I read that question is that he's receiving T. Higgins, and I love T. Higgins, but even before the year, I would keep Mike Evans and Alexander Madison.
Yeah, That's you're right. I did read that wrong. So yeah, I would agree with that.
But I do think T. Higgins bounces back this week.
I do agree. I do agree. Start 2, Amari Cooper, Miles Sanders, Zay Flower. Also, do I go ahead and go Richardson over Dak? So I am starting, yeah, Richardson over Dak, especially with the matchup. I would agree there. Amari Cooper, Miles Sanders, Zay Flowers. I think if Mark Andrews doesn't play, I'm going Zay.
Yeah,
Zay
Amari and Zay, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm going. But I think if Mark plays, I think we can have a new conversation as we get closer to the week on Saturday night when we go live.
I think regardless, I'm going to Zay Flowers there.
Okay.
I just can't ignore it. Like, that was such a dominant performance from a debut rookie.
It's definitely close. I think it's extremely close, and I think if that is going to continue, of course we want to start him.
Yeah, I'll go Amari and Zay there regardless for me. If Gainwell's a free agent, yeah, you could pick him up, I guess, if that's the question.
Yeah.
Drop one, Waller, Musgrave, Juwan Johnson.
I'm dropping
Juwan Johnson, probably.
I'm dropping Juwan Johnson, absolutely.
Because we saw some promising signs for Luke, I am your father.
Luke, I am your father.
G-Money, yo, how are we feeling about Garrett Wilson? Someone offered me Garrett Wilson for Higgins. I'll keep Higgins. If Watson and Judy are back, then start them both. Yes, depending on your options. Dotson bounce back could be.
I believe so.
I'll say this: like, overall, didn't love watching Sam Howell this week as a Commanders fan. Like, yeah, he's gritty. It was fun to watch, but man, I think against a better team we lose almost every time. So, but I love Dotson, the player. Just hoping that Sam Howell can be a little more composed moving forward.
I completely agree. Tommy, what's happening? The Bricks of Foundation. I don't know if you have a question. He just says 12-team PPR flex spot.
Down there, Pierce, Dotson, or Brian Robinson, I'm assuming.
I'm going Pierce and Dotson. Pierce is the start of the week for me, going against the Indianapolis Colts, who gave up a lot of points to the running back position this past week. So give me Pierce.
It would be Pierce for me too, in that order. Pierce, Dotson, Brian.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, a lot of questions in the chat. We're going to do our absolute best to get to all of them. All we ask is that you smash that like button for us. Currently 68 likes. You guys are awesome. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And please keep in mind that if you want your question answered straight away, drop a super chat of any amount and we'll get to it. We'll prioritize it. Anish says Ridley for Olave and Madison. Running backs are Akers, Mostert, and Javonte. So you're saying you can sell Calvin Ridley. I love Calvin Ridley for Olave and Madison. I would be willing to do that. Love Calvin Ridley. Love Chris Olave. Adding Madison, I think, is worthwhile to move off of Ridley.
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I don't love the Madison, but with your running backs right now, I think, especially if Cam Akers is not trending in the right direction, I would want to make that move.
Is Treylon Burks droppable in a 14-team league? I don't think so.
No,
in a 14-teamer, I struggle to think of anyone on the waiver wire that is more valuable. Now, if Puka's out there, as much as I love Treylon, I think with what we saw in week 1, Puka, I'd be willing to pick up over Treylon. But I think in most scenarios, I would say, you would want to keep Treylon Burks on your team. So, yeah.
Here we go. Now all my players played like putt juice week 1. I did just trade for Olave. The Devontae Adams and Olave better pop off for the week. I gotta smoke. Yeah, hope so, Bully. I really hope so. Harry says James Conner and Drake London for Amari Cooper and AJ Dillon. I get Amari, James Conner and Drake London for Amari Cooper and AJ Dillon. The thing is, I'm not a big believer. I think we need to see what that looks like for Aaron Jones. Is Aaron Jones gonna be weeks?
Is he gonna miss time?
That's what I'm saying. I think the hamstring. I think we're still waiting on confirmation. I haven't heard anything too much about that. But if he is missing time, if he missed multiple weeks, or let's say he misses 2 to 4 weeks, do I trust AJ Dillon long term over James Conner? I'm not sure, but I definitely do trust Amari Cooper over Drake London. The thing is, I'm trading away James. Yeah, you're trading away James Conner, who is clearly the RB1, for AJ Dillon when Aaron Jones comes back is be irrelevant. But Amari Cooper is. I don't think this is a trade that I would want to do.
I don't want to overreact too much to week 1. I do think Drake London will be better.
That's why I'm saying I'm giving Drake London grace. I've said
Yeah.
that before. I feel like this is like, yeah, you tier up in one, but you tier down significantly in the other. It's like it's an even but very unbalanced trade in the long term, which I
Yeah.
don't like. So that's what I would say, Harry.
This is a really tough one. To me, if Aaron Jones was healthy, it would be I'm keeping Connor in London. So
Hypothetically Aaron Jones goes on IR, do you want AJ Dillon?
yes.
I don't know if I would want AJ Dillon still.
Because we have to keep in mind you're sending away a receiver that had one target.
I know.
That ran 20 routes.
I understand. I'm not disagreeing. I hear you. That's really tough. This is a really tough one there, Harry.
Yeah. Brandon Johnson ran more routes than Drake London in week 1. Brandon Johnson. Someone go ahead and comment. Tell me what team Brandon Johnson's on.
I'm pretty sure we went to high school with Brandon Johnson.
Huh?
I'm pretty sure we both went to high school with Brandon Johnson.
So he plays for the Broncos. No one knows him. Yeah, I know. I get it. But anyway, so I guess we're answering this. We're keeping the Connor side. It's really tough though. Who should I pick up? I have the number 1 waiver wire, Algier or Kelly. I feel like we answered this, but we would go Algier. Mm-hmm. Is London already a bust? It's week 1. Obviously, it's extremely talented. Bust, I wouldn't call him a bust, but it's obviously concerning. You have to lower your expectations a lot. Dallas defense and Bateman for T. Higgins, who was put on the trade block. I'll take T. Higgins every time if that's the offer. Should I start Fields or Purdy? I'd be starting Fields, but I do love Brock Purdy. He should be rostered. Simon says, I'm very disappointed as a Jets fan. One of the most emotionally confusing wins ever. And I feel for you guys. I'm sorry. That's
so sorry.
That's tough.
Yeah.
What's up, Andrew? Good morning. Yes,
it is
morning here.
It is morning. Purdy or Cousins for week 2. I'm going Purdy.
I'm also going Purdy, yes.
Yeah, I'm going Purdy.
Hopefully this is the week that Kirk Cousins breaks the whole getting dominated by the Eagles trend. But I like Purdy at Los Angeles Rams better this week.
Completely agree.
Appreciate you, Andrew, man. It's been awesome to see. We appreciate the love and the support from everyone. What should I do with Sky Moore in Dynasty? You hold him. Honestly, guys, anyone who disappointed you in week 1, that is the worst time to trade anyone in redraft and in Dynasty. You know, we don't panic sell. That's where you find values, is people who panic sell. So don't do that. Just hold on and wait. I told y'all how hyped I was for my Seahawks, but boy, oh boy, we just did not lose like that to the dang Rams.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, you'll be better. You'll be better. I promise.
Yeah, I agree as well.
Miss Ghana says, yo, first time on stream. Been watching your videos, though. Brian Robinson, Pacheco, or Khalil Herbert. So for me, the answer to this would be probably Khalil Herbert. I don't really love any of those running backs this week, if I'm honest with you, but Khalil Herbert would be my go-to this week. Overall thoughts on Herbert and Pacheco potential this year? Yeah, Herbert and Pacheco were two names that I would say both of us were pretty, we were lower than consensus. We weren't super excited about them. So, I mean, I think they have potential to be top 24 to 30 running backs, is what I would say.
I would agree. When it comes down, to the long-term season, I don't love Pacheco. Herbert, we were hoping that he would be something in the first couple weeks. We didn't see that in week 1. That's already a concern. But they were playing from behind, so let's see what happens there. And Pacheco are playing the Jags, who gave the second least amount of points to the running back position. Obviously, the completely different talent, completely different roster, completely different team.
Yeah.
But if Travis Kelce does come back, I can just envision, and I said this in my video that I released of the start sit running backs. I gave you a little extra bonus of people that I believe could be trap plays, and I think Pacheco could be a trap play coming into this week. So I don't want to start him.
Start Breece Hall at Dallas. Depends on your options, man. I mean, if you're saying do I start Breece Hall at Dallas or do I start Chase Brown? I'll go Breece Hall. Breece Hall or Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I'll go Breece Hall. But if you're asking me, do I start Breece Hall or Ken Walker, then I'll go Ken Walker. So it's hard to answer without the context.
Agreed. I would agree there. Christian Watson's still wide receiver in Green Bay. I mean, at the moment, we expect him to be. Next question said, I have Chuba. Should I drop him for either Williams, Kelly, or Moss? I would drop Chuba for Williams. I'm assuming is that Jamal Williams or Javonte Williams? I would pick him up for Jamal Williams.
Kyron, personally. I would say that is.
Oh, Kyron, maybe it's Kyron.
Yeah, and I would go Kyron there. Yeah,
I would go Kyron as well.
I would go Kyron
Kelly as well,
and Moss probably.
Mm-hmm. I think we answered that question.
Yes. That man said Mother Flocker. That is the name of the tier that you can sign up to support what we do and get perks in return. The first tier is called Flocker. The second tier is called Mother Flocker. Again, you can use our promo code LAND if you guys want to sign up, get my weekly rankings, over 300 players ranked, bunch of articles to get advantage over your league mates, the fantasy hotline, as well as available over there. Patrick Mahomey says, thanks, guys. I'll start Dobbs if Watson plays week 2. I lost against the Lions, but won week 1 of fantasy thanks to you guys. Mm-hmm. Yes, and because you don't have Tony on your team. Yes. Yeah. I'm one of those idiots who started Sky Moore in a home league. I played check this out. The friend that I played in my home league had Travis Kelce. Out.
Travis Kelce.
He had Cooper Kupp. Out. He had Jonathan Taylor. Out.
Gone.
And somehow I still lost to this man. And I'm going to put the blame on Joe Burrow personally, because there are only 3 quarterbacks I like. How do I put it this way? There are 29 quarterbacks I could have started this week in that league and won. And Joe Burrow was not one of the 29 quarterbacks. That's fantasy for you.
That is fantasy. Georgie,
hey, first off, I believe this is the Georgie who just signed up over on the Flock Fantasy website. We just hooked him up in the DMs with his fantasy hotline. So shout out to you, Georgie. Thanks for joining. If you are the Georgie that I think you are. Hey, Georgie. Yeah, go ahead. Shout out to him.
Sorry about your losses in Dobbins and Rodgers. I lost Dobbins as well. Would you rather grab Goff or Purdy off waivers? Also, Shaheed and Kelly. I will be going Purdy right now based on that performance, which sounds crazy, but I do like Jared Goff. I think they're both solid pickups. If you don't get one, be really happy about the other, but I would prioritize Purdy over Goff. And then also Shaheed or Kelly for
flex. Okay.
For flex.
I would go probably Kelly there. But Shaheed's
I guess if Austin Eckler's not if Austin Eckler doesn't play, then obviously you want Kelly.
Yeah. The issue is that if Eckler does play, everyone who picked up Kelly is just you're not going to start him,
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what we would do. Dalvin or Zach Moss? Dalvin. How do you guys feel? Yeah. So ATJ is the person who, again, guys, if anyone in your leagues are panic selling, now is the time to buy. If anyone is inexperienced in fantasy and they don't understand that week 2 and week 1 look different, and week 1 doesn't look like every week of the NFL season, now's the time to go and try and buy from people who are panicking. If anyone's panicking on Joe Burrow or Josh Allen or T. Higgins, or now's the time to go out and buy. Yeah, that's tough, Office Depot. Yeah. Drop Elijah Moore for either Puka or Kenny Gainwell? ?
I know what I would do. I wonder what you would do.
I do think I would drop Elijah Moore for Puka. What I would say is I do believe that Elijah Moore should be rostered. So there's not a scenario in which I don't have Elijah and Puka on my team. So
Yeah, I think there's other players you
yeah.
can drop there, Angel. Hopefully, let us know. Drop another question. But I wouldn't be dropping Elijah Moore. I'm 100% putting in a lot of waivers for Puka, but not Elijah Moore is not the person I am dropping.
Yeah.
I mean, names: Alan Lazard, Adam Thielen, Tyler Boyd, Robert Woods. You think of the Isaiah Hodges or Rashee Rice or Jonathan Mingus. I'm going really low. I mean, those are the type of people I'm dropping to get. Sky Moore, I would drop. Sounds crazy. Darnell Mooney, I know he just had a decent game. I'm dropping those guys to get Puka, but not Elijah Moore for me. And maybe that's just my bias, but I don't think anyone should drop Elijah Moore.
Cole Kmet or Dalton Kincaid? Is Javonte Williams a good flex this week? Between those two options, I guess I'd go with Cole Kmet based off what we saw in week 1.
Yeah, Cole.
But Javonte Williams is a fine flex. No worries. Russian says, Badaki, they did start out good. Giants will rebound. As a Cowboys fan, I was nervous. Yeah, they will rebound.
Yeah, they will rebound. I believe so. It doesn't define our season as of yet, but it definitely can. So yeah. I'm hoping for some good stuff. Drop Damian Harris for Puka.
Yes.
I would drop Damian Harris for Puka. Yes, I would.
I would drop Damian Harris for Puka or Kyron.
Yeah,
by the way, guys, we're currently 22 likes away from 100. Help us get to that 100 mark. If you haven't hit the like button, go ahead and do so. Just so you guys know, we are answering your week 2 start sit questions or any questions that you have outside of like team grades. If you want your question prioritized and answered straight away, drop a super chat of any amount and we'll get straight to it. But next question, Gibbs or Flowers? And I think I'm going to go with Jahmyr Gibbs for week 2, but it's a very close.
It is very close.
Assuming it's PPR.
Yeah, I would go there as well. Hey, need the PPR flex Gainwell, Christian Watson, Addison. Gainwell if he plays.
This would be Watson for me if he plays.
Watson will be there if he does play, but I don't think he will. But
right, assuming he does play, I would go Watson. If he doesn't play, then I would be going probably Gainwell there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough playing Addison against that Eagles secondary. So
yeah,
it's tough.
Love that move for you, ATJ. Roman says, I have Najee Harris, James Cook, Cam Akers, Jalen Warren, and Jonathan Taylor. Would you drop Jalen Warren for Tyler Algier? Okay, so would you drop Jalen Warren? I would be more intrigued to drop Cam Akers for Tyler Algier than Jalen Warren. Jalen Warren looked like he's going to play an important part for that team. So I understand Cam Akers could bounce back and he could look better. It's hindsight, right? Like if Cam Akers goes out next week, puts up 150 yards and 2 touchdowns, that's hindsight. Like there's not a single soul on the internet right now telling you that that's going to happen or would know that that would happen. What I would say is with what we know, I would rather have Tyler Algier over Cam Akers rest of season. And I would prefer to drop Cam Akers over Jalen Warren. So that's the move I would make if I had to.
Yeah, Roman. I would be keeping those guys personally. I think
so you value Akers over Tyler Algier right now.
I think long term, I'm going based off of what I am projecting long term from Cam Akers. If I am going based off of that, Cam Akers. Yeah, I do value him long term. But it sounds crazy right now because Tyler Algier just finished as a top 10 running back.
He was RB4 on the week.
I don't even think you can say that that's going to be consistent moving forward.
No, but what I can say is watching Cam Akers handle the ball 22 times and rushing for like 1.1 yards per carry is enough for me to say, let me go out and get the guy on the team that runs the ball a ton and the guy who's a goal line option right now,
I think that's
I think if you weren't a Cam Akers lover, you would say yes to that. I think that might be a little bit of your love for him holding you back.
I just don't have. Maybe that's the case, but I just don't see the longevity with Tyler Algier there if Bijan Robinson there. But yeah,
but
look,
you
Cam
see
Akers
longevity for Cam Akers after that performance?
After that performance, it doesn't feel great. No, absolutely not. But I don't think that is something that's going to be consistent. I don't think Cam Akers is going to get the ball 22 times or how many times he had and only have 1.8 yards per carry. I don't think that is a consistent a consistent statistic that Cam Akers is going to have long term. No, I don't believe that.
Yeah.
I don't think you can say that with like anyone else who had a bad game.
No, I agree. I agree. However, I don't know. I just think if you poll the community, 90% of the people are going to say take Tyler Algier. Of course, we can't know what's going to happen in the future, and we think Cam is going to be better. But I think I just think like we might be overthinking that one a little bit too much. Just my opinion, but I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay, should you trade Kelsey? No, I'd be trading for Kelsey personally.
Agreed.
Do I drop, in all caps, do I drop Cordero Patterson for Kareem Hunt?
I would do that.
That's like saying, like, you know, which bathroom do I poop in today in my house? Who cares? You know? Sure. Yeah, get Kareem Hunt. It doesn't matter. Sorry, that might have been disrespectful.
No, I mean, you want Kareem Hunt with all the injuries coming out. You expect him to get on a team. 14-team PPR, flex question, Akers or Burks. Who does Treylon Burks play this week?
Treylon Burks plays the Chargers. I'll go with Treylon Burks.
Oh, Treylon, Trigger Trey. Yeah, look, Trey is definitely an interesting one. I would have to get closer to this to the week, but I will be leaning Cam Akers.
Yeah.
At the moment. Actually, no, he's playing the 49ers. I'm not going Cam Akers.
I was like, all right, well.
Cam Akers is somebody I don't want to start this week.
Yeah.
That's what I will say. As much as I like him. Should I cut Riley Patterson for Nick Folk?
Sure.
If you want.
I mean, if anyone out there can actually tell you that they have, I'm sure they do, like rock solid analysis around kickers, then
it's just
kudos to them. But I mean, I don't think it's really going to change your team either way. Forgot to mention earlier, my fall rank favorite to start, Javonte. It would be Javonte of that group for both of us. And thoughts on Pittman this year? I will say so far, I was wrong on Pittman. He was not someone that I was interested in. I think a lot of people were in that same space.
Yeah.
So I'll be happy to go ahead and hold my hand up and say I'm wrong so far. Let's see how the rest of the season pans out. But yeah, I mean, he looks better. What I will say is a lot of his points came off of a broken play and then kind of like a 2-minute drill. So I'm not, if you looked at Michael Pittman's score at halftime, you were like, thank God I didn't draft him, you know? But the second half he went off, so I can't take that away from him either. It's just too early for me to really know exactly what Pittman will be rest of season.
Agreed. He might be in a video that I'll be releasing here soon, so keep that in mind. Star 2, Baker, Ridley, Wilson.
Ritter,
Wilson. Are we talking about quarterbacks?
This would be Baker and
as
it's crazy that Baker's like the guy I'm going with. I'll go with I think I'm going with Zach Wilson over Ritter, man.
Yeah, because of the temps. You think of like that Falcons, but like, I mean, they're just playing the Cowboys. They're just gonna demolish.
You're in a tough spot if you have to make this decision.
They're gonna demolish. I mean, yeah, I don't like either of those. If I had to choose one, I'm going Desmond. I think the Cowboys are just gonna bully Zach Wilson. I don't think the Packers have that in them at the moment. But you get more opportunity probably with Zach throwing the ball than Desmond Ritter.
Yeah. Where do you rank Olave rest of the season? He'll be comfortably in like the top 12. But we'll have a top 50 rest of season ranking video for you guys at the end of this week. Should I drop Dolphins D for Cleveland? Yes, I would be willing to do that.
Yeah, I would as well. White or Javonte and Kincaid are so somebody to start this week. I like Rachaad White this week.
Yep, I'll go Rachaad White.
And Kincaid or Kmet. I'm going Cole Kmet.
Yeah, same.
I love Kincaid, but we need to see more a little bit. Flex, Mostert or Michael Thomas. I'm going Michael Thomas.
Same. We loved Mostert in week 1. He was one of my starts of the week. But week 1 is not week 2. He faces the Patriots defense. That is a much different situation for him. So I'll go MT.
He's a sit for me coming into this week. 12-team PPR. 1 flex. I got Amon-Ra at wide receiver. Ramondre Stevenson, James Cook, Jahmyr Gibbs. Who should I drop? Jameer Gibbs-White? Should I drop Burks for Kyron? I would be.
I think that's Antonio Gibson, right? I would drop Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, I would talk exactly Antonio Gibson for Kyron. What we saw. So.
I was able to trade Algier for Hawkinson straight up. Nice.
Yeah,
well done.
Love that.
Dotson or Breece Hall? I think I'm going Breece Hall.
That's crazy to even think about, right? I mean, Breece Hall, phenomenal. You have to go Breece after what he did, but going against this Cowboys defense is very scary. Let's see. What's happening? What running back should I target for Wilson? I have Lamb and Metcalf.
I just think if you sell Garrett Wilson right now for a running back, you're not going to get a running back that you like. I just don't think anyone's giving you a Joe Mixon, a Josh Jacobs, a Bijan Robinson, you know. Like, I think you're going to get some pretty low ball offers. I feel like you'll get offered like a Tyler Algier and like a, you know, James Conner, Miles Sanders. You know, I don't think it's a very good time to be trading him away for a running back, personally. I don't know if you have any better advice, though.
No, I don't think you're going to get what you want. I'm keeping Garrett Wilson. I mean, if you had to stretch, maybe you can sell there for as high as you can, but I'm not necessarily sure. I don't think
I'll sell Metcalf instead, right? I know obviously, thank you for the donation, Cole. We'll get to your question. I know obviously we would all prefer Lamb and Metcalf over Wilson. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, like, who has more value right here, right now? That would probably be DK Metcalf after what he did in week 1. So if I can move DK Metcalf and get in a Joe Mixon or Bijan Robinson or a Travis Etienne or a Pollard, Chubb, maybe not that, maybe that's too high, or Josh Jacobs after his week 1, that feels much better than trying to find someone willing to move their star running back for Garrett Wilson now. But anyway, I mean, you have a couple options to navigate that.
Definitely a good way to go about it. What's happening, Skylar? Chris, what's up, fellas?
We got some super chats, so we'll answer the super chats straight away. What's up, Skylar? If you guys don't know, now you know. We answer super chats straight away. Appreciate you. Thanks for the love. Puka, Gainwell, or Nico off waivers? It would be Puka for me. Puka. He would be my priority.
Yep.
And I would prioritize them in order like that. Puka, Gainwell, Nico.
Yeah, exactly. I'll second that as well.
Uncut or Uncle Dut. Yeah, Uncle Dut. What's up, Uncle?
Uncle Dut. Trade Lamb.
Hey, what's that show where they call it? Everyone calls it. Oh, it's Cousin. That's the bear. What's up, Cousin? Hey, Cousin. What's up, Cousin? Anyway, go ahead.
Trade Lamb for Olave and drop Lockett for Puka. I'm happy. I think that's kind of like a pivot, Lamb or Olave. I'd rather have Lamb long term, personally. So I'm keeping CeeDee Lamb.
Same.
Dropping Lockett for Puka, I think I want to keep Tyler Lockett. There's surely better options there that you can drop.
That might be a little bit of a week 1 overreaction there. We do not expect Tyler Lockett to score that few amount of points every week, and we don't expect Puka to be that great every week either. I would keep Lamb over Olave. You have to keep in mind, if you have Brandon Cooks, if you have Jake Ferguson, if you have CeeDee Lamb, in what scenario did the Cowboys need to throw the ball on Sunday Night Football? Exactly. There wasn't a single moment they needed to throw that ball.
The Cowboys had 9 snaps and they were up like 24-0.
So we have to keep in mind that they're going to throw the ball much more in more competitive games. But there has to be a easier player than Lockett to drop for Puka on your team, unless it's 100%. Like an 8-man league, you know. That's the only other scenario I can think of. But thank you for the super chat, man. As you guys know, we answer super chat straight away. Currently 4 likes away from 100. So go ahead, smash that like button if you have yet to do so, guys. But otherwise, if you don't drop a super chat, we will get to your question. We're just going to go in order. Craig, what's up, Craig? Come on, Craig. Get up, Craig.
Come on, Craig. Get up, Craig. Come on, Craig. Go for it.
What's up, fellas? One of my league mates went 0 RB and is offering me Amari Cooper for Mostert and either Addison or Dotson. I have Pickens, Tyreek, and Garrett Wilson. Would you make the trade? So someone is offering you Amari Cooper for Mostert and Dotson or Addison. I think they're asking too much of you, to be honest. They want to give you Amari Cooper. They want Addison or Dotson and Mostert. That feels like they're asking too much.
Yeah,
in my
agreed.
personal opinion.
I completely agree there. Just trying to take advantage right there. No, what are you saying, Skylar? Would you send Sanders and Khalil Herbert or JSN for Gibbs in PPR? Herbert slash JSN. I would send Herbert and JSN for Gibbs.
No. That's not. You have to do Miles Sanders and
Miles Sanders
Herbert
and
or JSN. I wouldn't be selling low on JSN yet. But Miles Sanders
I think Miles
and
Sanders
Khalil
and
Herbert, I
would
would send away for Gibbs.
Yeah, I would do. I like Gibbs over Sanders, Dotson, or Brees this week. I mean,
Go Brees.
That's tough, man. I need to see reports more if he's going to get more workload, but he looked phenomenal. He looked so good. It's hard not to start him.
Yeah, I would go Brees. We've already answered this question about kickers. Thanks for the sub.
One.
Dope says sit one Gibbs, Hall, Connor, Christian Watson. Hopefully this decision will be made for you, but if it's not, then I would probably be sitting. Who does Connor play this week? The Giants?
The Giants.
I think I'm probably sitting James Conner if that happens.
I'm going Gibbs and Hall if we get good confirmation of Hall again this week, if he gets more workload.
Yeah.
Styles, is McKinnon droppable 10-man league?
10-man, yeah.
10-man, yep, I agree.
You know, in a 12-man, I would hold on to him, but in a 10-man, yeah, if you got Gainwell, Rashawn, and Gus Edwards out there, yes, in those scenarios, he would be a droppable asset. We do have a couple super chats. Thank you, PL. Thank you for the donation, and Uncle Dut. So we'll get to your question straight away. Full PPR, flex, Mostert, Zay Flowers, or DJ Moore. So we have to pick one option here. I'll say this. If Mark Andrews does not play, I'll go Zay Flowers. If Mark Andrews does play, I know it's probably going to sound crazy, and some people are really not going to like me saying it, but I'm betting on a bounce back for DJ Moore this week at 100%. Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay gave up a bunch of points to wide receivers last week. Addison got some work. Obviously, Justin Jefferson got work. Hawkinson was great. Like, their secondary was picked apart. And I don't think that the Bears are going to be that bad every single week. The good news is that DJ Moore still ran the most routes of any wide receiver. He was out there for more snaps of any non-quarterback. So the way I'm answering this is if Mark Andrews doesn't play, Zay Flowers. If Mark Andrews does play, DJ Moore. But that's one of those names like DJ Moore and Zay Flowers where after week 2, we'll have a lot of confidence knowing how to move forward.
Exactly. And that's exactly what I was going to say. After this week, we will truly know who to start. I would feel like with confidence going in there. I'm still going DJ Moore. The Bucks gave up the 3rd most fantasy points to the wide receiver position. Zay Flowers is going against, I would say, but going against the Bengals, who just came off a bad win or bad loss, and it's a divisional game. I'm not saying that he's not going to get that workload, just saying that I'm believing in DJ Moore bounce back more than the consistent workload that Zay Flowers, or the 10 targets that Zay Flowers got in week 1. So I'm going DJ Moore there.
Uncle
Hopefully
Dut says
helps.
wide receivers are Diggs, Lamb, Thomas, Cooper, and Lockett. Diggs, Lamb, Thomas, Cooper, Lockett. I would be more open to... Dude, it sounds like you're in an 8-man league then.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Let us know if you're in an 8-man league.
You don't have to super chat again unless you want to, but that's a tough one, dude. Would you rather have Michael Thomas or Puka Nacua rest of the year?
That's what I was thinking.
I think I'd take the shot on Puka.
What did Michael Thomas?
It's an 8-man league, he said. That makes sense.
Okay, Michael Thomas 5 for 8, 11 fantasy points.
I would be dropping Michael Thomas to pick up Puka. Now, I hope everyone can understand that in a 12-man league, Michael Thomas and Puka Nacua both should absolutely be 100% rostered across the board. But we're talking to someone who's in an 8-man league, so their waiver wires are full of great players. Yeah, it would between those options, I would drop Michael Thomas for Puka, but
I would say this:
Michael Thomas is even a start of the week for me, and I'm saying that.
I would say this: if you are, I would drop Michael Thomas. I was just thinking of like 8-man league. How many starters do you have?
Yeah.
You're probably never going to start him at all.
You wouldn't start him over Diggs, Lamb,
No,
and
you have
probably
to, and
Amari Cooper.
I'm assuming if this is like a normal 8-man league with 8 starts, and with one flex option, you're probably never going to start him anyway because you're always going to prioritize Cooper over Puka,
Yeah.
or Tyler Lockett over Puka. So
I agree. Hopefully that is helpful. What's up, ZD Lou? What is Gucci? Thank you so much for the super chat. Guys, if you want your question answered straight away, you probably know by now, but super chat is the way to go. Which two to start? James Cook, Puka Nacua, or Jamal Williams? Jamal Williams, one of my sits of the week last week. Did not like the matchup. That completely flips on his head now. I love the
100%.
matchup for Jamal Williams this week. If I'm not mistaken, Jamal Williams faces the Carolina Panthers, who just got absolutely rocked by running backs.
100%.
So, yeah, I'll go ahead and start Jamal Williams. Then the question is between James Cook and Puka Nacua. And in a PPR league, I know you love James Cook. I think I'm gonna ride the volume from Puka last week.
Yeah, look, I think all these guys, if you have them, should start. It sounds crazy. Both James Cook and Jamal Williams are both must starts for me. But yeah, I agree with Zach. If Puka is getting that workload that we saw, you kind of want to start him over James. James did good against the Jets, I would say, in my opinion. But Jamal going against the Carolina Panthers, who give up the most fantasy points to the running back position, I would have to go Puka and Jamal. Sorry, not James, Jamal. So I still think James Cook should be started personally in some way, somehow.
Yeah,
but I understand.
Thank you for the super chat, guys. Really appreciate everyone who's donated and dropped a like on the video. Appreciate y'all so much. Okay, the next question in order is from Gorilla Kid. You want to go ahead and read that out for us?
Yeah, sorry, I just had to scroll all the way up.
Yeah.
I have running backs mixing Bijan Robinson, Pacheco. Wide receivers, Garrett Wilson. Okay, what's the question? What running back and wide receivers in waivers should I grab? And do I drop Deontay or Gabe Davis? I mean, surely you have an IR spot you can keep Deontay on. That's what I would say. And second of all, who's on your waiver wires? We don't know.
Yeah.
So that's also a crucial part of the
context.
question. Yeah, we need that context, so we can't really help you without that. But
I did drop a waiver wire video a couple days ago, which would be very helpful maybe for you. But I know you've waited a long time to get your question answered, but there's just not enough context for us really to give you a good answer. I'm really sorry about that.
Yeah, completely agree there. Scary Terry or Sutton, I will go.
Say this, like if Judy misses a time again, and then I'll go Sutton. If Judy plays, I'll go Terry.
How does Sutton actually do? I need to go back and that's the game I need to go back and rewatch with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, he was fine. I believe he caught a touchdown. Wasn't a lot of targets. It was only 5 targets.
4 for 5.
Yeah,
5 and a touchdown.
Caught a touchdown. So yeah, if Terry's out, I'll go Sutton there. But
Sutton.
Ideally, if Judy plays Terry.
Yeah. Stick between many tight ends. Do I stick with Schultz or grab Ertz, Laporta, Musgrave, or Ferguson? I would personally grab Ferguson. I think without that weather, we could have seen him get peppered with targets even more.
Yeah.
Especially if they're going to be competing and going back and forth against some defenses. I would be getting Ferguson there.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would also say Laporta should be rostered. Yeah. Donald is still trying to field his Nick Folk, Ronnie Patterson question. Miss Jana says Kyle Pitts or Laporta. Kyle Pitts for me. Then pick one: Rondell, Elijah, and Brian. In this scenario, I would go Elijah Moore. So this would be Kyle Pitts and Elijah Moore for me.
Wow. Is it crazy to start Laporta over Kyle Pitts?
Is it crazy? No, I don't think it's crazy.
Against the Seahawks.
But I'm still gonna go.
He's a rookie.
I'm still gonna go Kyle there personally. I think we have to keep in mind as well, like the Packers will not be down the entire game. We expect they won't be down the entire game like the Panthers were, but yeah, it's closer than a lot of people would say. But I would lean Pitts there.
Yeah, I would go. I think I would be leaning Sam Laporta.
Yeah. I don't think that's
But
crazy.
yeah, keep
Hmm.
that in mind. Chris, which player should I trade? Oh, sorry, which player is a good trade target for Garrett Wilson? Are we?
We've
Think we
probably
at
answered that question
so many
10 times
times.
today.
Yeah.
But
Hopefully you heard that earlier. I
I
think we have
guess
to expect that.
just quickly, names that I would expect people being able to trade Garrett Wilson away for: Jalen Waddle, Devontae Adams, Keenan Allen, T. Higgins, DK Metcalf, Brandon Ayuk, Amari Cooper. Those are some names, but we probably won't answer that question again if someone else answers it. Hopefully, they're able to go back in the stream and watch because we've answered it quite a few times. I hope that's helpful, Chris.
Yeah,
Sean
hopefully that
has a
is
dynasty
helpful.
question for us.
Yes, it's had A-Rod in the win now, Superflex with Willis as my QB3. That's unfortunate. I trade Dobbs for Tannehill. What do you think?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I would say this: if you are still competing and going to the end there, and Tannehill is somehow helping out, do you try and just go for it and give like a first to get somebody else? You know, like I'm just trying to think of other quarterbacks that you can get. I feel a lot more confident in. Can you get a Derek Carr? Can you get a Baker Mayfield who is still, can you go out and get? You probably can't get Brock Purdy anymore. Can you go out and get a Jared Goff if you have a first? Anyways, that's what I would think. Patrick Mahoney, would you guys drop either Dobbs or Juju for Puka? Juju, I would be dropping.
Yeah, I would
don't have him on
drop
my
both,
team.
but Juju would be the one I prefer to drop.
Yeah. Adam says start Lockett. JSN Myers. We both be starting Lockett, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
What Dobbins been for the season, do you think he will take his share?
Who do you think?
Who do you think you take his share? I'm hoping Edwards. I think Edwards, but we saw Edwards take the opportunity on the ground, and then when it got to the end zone, Justin Hill scored twice.
Yeah,
so
Justice, yeah. I would still bet on Gus if I had to choose.
I would agree there. Jason Hopkins or Gibbs full PPR. This one's close.
This is close.
I think I'm going DeAndre Hopkins.
Yeah, same, but that is very close, and I would not be surprised if Gibbs ends up being the one you want. But I think I'll say this: Gibbs is the higher upside play. Hopkins is a safer floor. So depending on your teammate or your matchup, you can make that decision.
Yeah. Drake London, Pete Ryan, or JSN. I think in this scenario, I would give him more grace once again, and I'm going Drake London. This is a scenario I would start Drake London. I don't know. What are you thinking?
So London's my wide receiver 48 on the week.
It's
I have
tough.
Jackson Smith and Jigba as my wide receiver 46. So I would go. Jackson Smith and Jigba got 5 targets. What if I told you before the week 1 season that Jackson Smith and Jigba had 500% more targets than Drake London in week 1?
500.
Obviously, that's not going to continue. P. Ryan was actually really involved as well. I think that's something that maybe went under the radar for some people. P. Ryan was super involved, played 45% of the snaps. He was super efficient on the ground and got 4 targets through the air. I'll rock with JSN there, though. JSN would be my option.
Elijah, this one's very interesting, but this is why I'm giving Drake London grace. Because I think it'll be one of those weeks, probably like last week in week 1, where we said maybe you should sit somebody, or everyone else was telling you to sit him because they had a terrible week 1 and then they felt better. There's no way he can do worse. That's what I would say.
Yeah.
There's no way he can do worse. So I'm giving him grace there. Drop OBJ for Allen Robinson.
No, I'd keep OBJ.
Yeah, I would keep him as well. I feel more confident. I like that all. I just don't like Allen Robinson. You have Patrick Mahomes. Do you trade Tua for Garrett Wilson? Tua have the same.
In a 1 quarterback league, yeah, I would do that.
Yeah, I agree. Brock Purdy or Kirk Cousins. Brock Purdy for the both of us. I don't like the Eagles against Brock Purdy. Or excuse me, Kirk Cousins. Excuse me. Well, out of 100, how much fab of Puka Nacua?
Cooper Kupp Jr. I like that. I said about 25 to 30% of my fab.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say though. I have to be honest though. I don't imagine that if you put 25% of your fab, so let's say you have $100, if you spend $25, I don't think you end up getting Puka this week. You know, I think people who get Puka spend $35 to $40. I really do. After that performance. So take that however you want to. If I'm so desperate for a flex, I'll spend 30%, but 25 is what I feel comfortable with.
Yeah, thank you so much for the sub. Randy says, I got offered T. Higgins and Kyle Pitts for Garrett Wilson. 12-team Dynasty Superflex. Should I smash this accept?
I would prefer Kyle Pitts and T. Higgins in Dynasty.
And T. Higgins, I would. I mean, now the question mark leans towards Aaron Rodgers' longevity and who's going to be that quarterback. But I like the value that you get with T. Higgins.
Totally. I mean, you have to think about it. Like, will Aaron Rodgers play next year? Maybe. He might. He probably will. But
I think
that was already a concern when they traded for him, is how long do you get Aaron Rodgers in this window? And that's even more of a question now. So, dynasty-wise...
Caleb Williams to the Jets.
No way.
Wow.
They're going to win games.
They already won.
Kyler Murray to the Jets. If you could say what's one quarterback you would... If you could choose a quarterback and put them on the Jets, who would it be? It would be Kyler Murray for me.
Imagine if Trey Lance didn't get traded already.
But would they start Trey Lance over Zach Wilson, though? I don't know that they would, as an organization, be willing to do that, because they drafted Zach Wilson at 2. Who went next in that draft? Trey Lance at 3. I don't think that they would actually do that as a... Yeah, I don't think they'd be able to do that.
Anyways, some cool things to talk about.
Yeah.
Trade Geno Smith, pick up Purdy. I think Geno will be better.
Yeah.
But do I want Brock Purdy or Geno Smith long term after this week? I think I'm still going Geno. Brock Purdy looked phenomenal.
I don't know, like, assuming this is a redraft league, I don't see how you can trade Geno away for anything after that performance, you know? I don't see anyone giving you value for Geno in a one quarterback league. So I'd be fine to pick up Purdy. If you can trade Geno, yeah, I'd be fine with that. But I just don't know what you could get in return. What do you think about Tank Bigsby? Throughout the offseason, Badaki and I have both been on the same page, saying Tank Bigsby will be the reliever back, but Travis Etienne will still be the number one guy, and I feel like that's what we saw in week 1. Will that change over the year? We'll see. But I feel like if you or someone like me who bet on Travis Etienne this year and just ignored the noise, I think you feel pretty good right now about doing it. It's early, but I think you feel good about doing it.
Yep, agreed. Who should I flex? Monty, Addison, Flowers, Puka, Shaheed. If I am flexing somebody, will probably... I think it's close between Monty and Flowers. I think it's the same situation. I think this is a question with Flowers if Mark Andrews is playing next week. But I like Monty coming into this week in the flex option against the Seahawks.
I'll go Monty there too. Volpe says, first time watching you guys instantly became my go-to for fantasy advice. You guys are really great. Man. I appreciate that, man.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much, man.
Very kind to you. And thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the content. Thanks for hanging out with us. Okay, we have 2 super chats, so we'll get to those straight away. Jake Perez says, pass on Kyron, Kelly, Gus to stash for Sean. Pass on Kyron, Kelly,
I guess let me ask you this question. I think I would, because I would go for Gus, because I think he's a long-term better answer. I think if I had to put these guys in order, it's Gus, Kyron, Kelly, because once Austin Eckler comes back healthy, you think Kelly is going to be obsolete. Roscoe, I feel like in the second half of the season that we've all been saying, like you and I have been saying, we see him getting that work. So if you can't get Gus, I'm okay to prioritize Roscoe in hope that he can be something, but that's also a tough one.
Yeah, that is a tough one. All these guys in a 12-man league should be rostered when waivers clear. That's what I'll say. If I had to prioritize them in order, it would be Kyron for me, Gus, Rashawn, Kelly. And I know that's probably surprising for people. Why do you have Kelly last? I've said this before, but I strongly believe that his involvement had a lot to do with Eckler's injury during the game. And I strongly believe that when Eckler's back, he's going to be the guy. So I think Kelly has the least intriguing long-term outlook of those names. What I will say is there's not a single 12-man league I'm in, Badaki, where Rashawn Johnson is available on the waiver wire. So he absolutely should be rostered in all 12-man leagues. Hopefully that's helpful for you, Jake. Thank you for the super chat, man. Really appreciate you. Filoni with the next super chat. He says, I start Burrow, trade Tua, Brian Robinson for T. What you think? So the question is, would you trade Tua and Brian Robinson for T. Higgins in a one quarterback redraft league? I absolutely would do that. Give me T. Higgins.
100%.
I'll take the Burrow and T. Higgins stack. I released a video today, Badaki. I don't know if you were able to watch any of it, but one of my starts of the weeks was T. Higgins at the wide receiver position. And I made a bold claim. My bold claim was, I believe this week, Burrow and this wide receiver room will bounce back in a big way. This wide receiver room will score the most fantasy points of any wide receiver room in the NFL this week. That's my bold claim. I'm sticking to it. I had someone bounce back in a comment and say, you're a clown. The Bengals are awful. They showed that, they're not going to be good. And I just find that hilarious because we have 34 game sample size of them being incredible, but we're going to rely on this one game in week 1 to say that they're bad. So I'm assuming you're with me. We're taking T. Higgins here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm taking T. Higgins to get the stack. Everything that you said. This is a one quarterback league. I still want Joe Burrow long term. Brian Robinson, love you, my guy, but goodbye. So I think it's great.
Yes.
I love that trade for you. Our next super chat, just stack.
Thank you for the $10 dono, man. Appreciate you.
He said to resupply used tissues for week 1. I'm sending you a Michael Parsons bobblehead. I actually want it. I actually want a Michael Parsons bobblehead here right now. I'll be happy with that. But hey, congratulations, Dak.
I mean, that was a Cowboys dominant performance. We were watching the game together, Dak. Badaki and I were watching the game together, and I cannot tell you how excited he was before the game, and I cannot tell you how depressed he was after the first quarter. It was tough. It was tough. And all of our friends were in the chat, and we were just like, oh, man. Yeah, this is tough.
I mean, all I know is that it's a new week, and that's not who we are. And I think that is what's really encouraging. So, shout out to the New York Football Giants. Let me tell you something.
Oh, God.
Let me tell you something. No, it's actually really interesting.
Why are you running?
Why are you running? Let me tell you something. All the Giants media, like Brian Daboll, does not want to be seen. All the players don't want to talk. Like, even the podcasts I listen to are not doing their normal schedule this week that they said because of how embarrassed we are.
It should be, yeah.
Yeah, but hey, anyways, just a little thought process there.
Thank you for the super chat, Dak. Sean, thank you so much for the super chat, man. Dynasty Superflex, no quarterback to give Kyler for Purdy and JSN/Judy. So you are sending away Kyler Murray. You're getting back Brock Purdy and Jackson Smith-Njigba. If I'm reading that correctly, and I love Kyler Murray in Dynasty, but if I'm reading that correctly, I will absolutely take Brock Purdy and Jackson Smith-Njigba in this deal, right? That's a no-brainer.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer.
However, if I'm reading that the opposite way, where I get Kyler and send away Purdy and Jason, I would not do it. So, just to be clear.
I would say this. I would want Jason. I don't want to do that Brock Purdy trade. I don't think I would want to send away Kyler for Brock Purdy and Jerry Jeudy, as much as I love Jerry Jeudy. I think it has to be JSN. That's what I would say.
Okay, those are all the super chats that were piled up there. Guys, thank you so much for the donations. Thank you for the support. Again, if you guys want your questions answered straight away, then go ahead and drop a super chat. You know what we should do? We should put a little ticker somewhere on the stream, and like how many questions have we answered, and it racks it up, because we have been talking for like an hour and a half straight.
That's what I was going to say. I would say maybe we'll give him until 12 our time.
Okay,
What do you think? Or do you want to go
so we'll be live for another 27 minutes, you're saying?
Yeah, another 27 minutes. So if we don't get to your comment or question, like Zach said, drop a super chat and we will prioritize that. If not, we will be live essentially every single day leading up to week 2, outside of obviously Sunday.
Yeah.
So definitely keep that
little thick.
Mind. Little thick,
thicker
baby.
Than a bowl of Snickers.
10 team PPR start 2 running back.
What is it? Thicker than
I think it's thicker than a Snicker.
Yeah.
Right? Thicker than a Snicker.
Okay. Go ahead.
Anyways, 10-team PPR, start two running backs and a flex. Debo, MT, Gibbs, Brees, Raheem, Dalvin. So two running backs, Gibbs, Brees, and a flex. I am going MT.
I'm going Debo there.
Oh, Debo. Sorry. Yes, Debo is there.
Yeah, so Gibbs, Brees, Debo, right? We're on the same page?
Yes, Gibbs, Brees, Debo, yes.
We just received another super chat, so we'll answer that one straight away. Bradley, thank you, Bradley. He says, I put a waiver on Purdy. Good idea? I think it's a good idea. Yeah, that was my number 5 waiver priority in the waiver wire video that we released a couple days ago. So, yes, Purdy should be rostered in most leagues. He's going to have a great year. Quarterback 9 on the week, if I'm not mistaken. And by the way, I'll just say this to anyone out there who cares. Since the time that Brock Purdy took over as a starter from weeks 13 onwards last year, in that time span, he was a top 9 quarterback. He was 3rd in passing touchdowns in the NFL, and I believe he was top 5 in completion percentage. With the weapons around him, it's time for people to wake up and realize Brock Purdy is for real.
Wake up. Wake up.
JC Eno, should I get rid of Garrett Wilson? We talked about this a lot. Hopefully you were listening. Should I start Geno or Purdy? I think we answered that one too.
Yeah, we're going Purdy. I think we're going Purdy.
Yeah.
Yep, we're going Purdy.
Got Purdy and dropped Daniel Jones. I would definitely add Purdy if I had Daniel Jones as like insurance. Yeah. But I would start Daniel Jones over Purdy this week. I think he has a good bounce back opportunity. Daniel Jones plays the Arizona Cardinals. He's my quarterback 12. Quarterback 14 this week for me is Brock Purdy. So I think if you have Daniel Jones, it's really smart to add a Brock Purdy. And I said this on the waiver wire video. If anyone this year is last year's Geno Smith, it's Brock Purdy for me.
Yeah, I would say this. Daniel Jones wasn't getting protected last year. So, anyways. Tebow, Dotson, and Monty for Cup who win. Dotson and David Montgomery for Cooper Kupp. We will be able to. Yeah, I would agree as well, but I think a lot of it is going to fall on how Cooper Kupp bounces back.
I would say even now though, knowing like Puka Nacua. I don't think he's like completely irrelevant when Kupp is back. I'm not saying that Kupp is not dominant, but I think like I think Puka will play a role when Kupp is back. I will go Dotson and Demont there, but it's very close. Start one in full flex, full PPR. Ayuk, Algier, Flowers. I think you got to rock with Ayuk.
Yeah, you got to rock with Ayuk,
right?
Yeah, 100%.
Let me double check my rankings. Yeah,
I'm going Ayuk.
I'm going Ayuk. Yeah.
Playing the Rams, I feel confident in that one. That's a divisional game. Start two, Connor, Sanders, Madison, Michael Pittman. I'm going Sanders and full PPR, man.
This is a tough one, man. This is a really tough
I feel like this could be a trap, personally, with Michael Pittman. I don't want to start Madison based off the matchup. There's two people on this list, in my opinion, could be a trap, and that's James Conner and Michael Pittman, meaning that they're probably not going to perform or get the workload that we expected them to get coming into week 2 that we saw in week 1. But if I had to choose one, I am going Sanders, and I'm going Michael Pittman with the PPR upside as he's the wide receiver one.
I would agree. That's what I would do as well, but that is a tough question. I think, I would say that is a very difficult question because all those players should technically be started, but I would also agree going Sanders and Pittman there. Terry McLaurin or Pittman Jr.? I would probably lean Pittman there.
Yeah, that's crazy. It's crazy to say that, but yes, it has to. I think it's Pittman with the targets that he got.
Yes, it would be Pittman for me. Pittman is my wide receiver 27 on the week. Terry is my wide receiver 35, assuming he gets the Pat Surtain treatment that Adams got last week.
Yeah. HEJ said, would you trade Anthony Richardson and Breece Hall for Saquon? This is the league I just traded for Allen. So you got Josh Allen. Yes, I remember this.
I don't know if I would want anyone else in my league to have Anthony Richardson, though. As crazy as that sounds, like, no, I want to watch him. I want to watch him on my team.
I think I'm really happy with Josh. Question is, I mean, with Brees Hall not having the pace, not being quote unquote in shape, he feels like he is a better running back to have surprisingly over Saquon after the performances that we saw.
I would
So
still value Saquon over Brees Hall right
exactly.
now.
That's what I was gonna say. But at the same time, Saquon have to understand what the type of workload he is going to see
Yeah.
outside of that Week 1 performance, especially in the air. So I think Saquon is the go here for me, especially if you have Josh Allen, ATJ. That's what I would say.
I can't even hear what you're saying because there was donations in my ear. You know the sound that happens.
This is so
Thank
loud,
you guys for
yes.
donating. I really, really appreciate that.
Thank you so much. And I'll go ahead and start with those donations here.
Okay.
Young Visionary. Hey, love the vision.
I mean, what is the vision though? What is the vision? Let us know. What's the vision?
I don't know, but it's a young one though.
I want to hear.
Look at that skyline. Is that a Seattle skyline? Shout out to the Seattle.
That's the needle.
That's the
That's
needle.
where that's where Love Is Blind is hosted.
You like Love Is Blind? I like that show.
Hell yeah, man. Any sort of like trashy reality TV. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Zay for Dallas. What's the question? Okay, it's just Zay for Dallas.
Is that Dallas Goedert, you think?
Okay, quarterback Lamar, Jacobs, Kenneth Walker, Hill, Deontay, MT, Dallas Goedert, yes, bench is Spears, Charbonnet, Jefferson, Deion Jackson. So now, young visionary, my question is, who is your...
If you get rid of Goddard, who are you starting then at tight
exactly
end?
who are you starting at tight end? I think that is the biggest question here, especially with the wide receivers that you have. You have Hill, Deontay, MT, and you also have Jefferson, which is I'm assuming Van Jefferson.
Yeah.
Sam Laporta.
Sam Laporta. Then yes, I would trade Dallas Goedert for Zay Flowerson. Yes. Because I think you need the help in your wide receiver room.
You need the help in the wide receiver room. As much as I love Dallas, I do believe he will have a bounce back. I don't think he's not going to get the workload. But in this scenario, you need that, and I'm okay to work with Zay Flowers, to get Zay Flowers. So I'm okay with that trade personally.
Yeah, I like it.
Thank you so much for that donation, by the way.
Kind.
Casey Brown, 12 team, start 11. Get Waddle, send Gibbs, Jameis.
Jamison Willie. I love it.
Jamison Willie.
So this is not a dynasty question, I assume, right? Because if it's dynasty, I'll take the Gibbs side. But assuming it's redraft, I will take the Waddle side.
I'm taking the Waddle side as well. Zach, thank you so much for the super chat as well. Thank you so much for the super chat as well, Casey. I have Madison, Addison, Hockenson in my lineup, trying to diversify my lineup. Would you trade Andrews for Hockenson?
Yes. Like as in you would get Andrews? Yes.
Yes, I would want Andrews to diversify, and I like that.
I like that as well.
Spread it out a little bit.
You don't want the entire offense, right? Because on a down week, you're probably not winning your matchup. So much would be invested in there, but yeah.
I would agree.
I think that's actually a really good move too. Like, I think you're making that move at the right time, is what I would say. So I think that's a good move for you, Zach.
Yeah, 100%, especially when he missed the first week there.
Okay.
Going back,
guys, we are going to be live for 18 more minutes. We just want to be super clear with everyone, so we're all on the same page. We've been live for an hour and 40 minutes, trying to answer as many of your questions as we possibly can. We will be live for another 18 minutes. So we may not get to everyone's questions. We'll try our best. Of course, if you desperately need a question answered, drop a super chat and we'll prioritize it. Drop Wan'Dale Robinson for Puka in Dynasty in a heartbeat. Give me Puka over Wan'Dale in Dynasty.
Yeah.
Jason says, if you got the first waiver claim, do you think you would use it on someone this week? And if so, who? I'm honestly liking my depth at every position. If I had the first waiver claim, I'd be choosing Puka Nacua. Or Tyler Algier if he's out there. Like, I get that you like your team, but if there's someone that you can look at and say, hey, Puka or Tyler's probably more valuable than these guys, yeah, go ahead and make the move. Your team is stronger overall and you have more trade assets.
Yeah, I agree.
Drop Smith and Jigba for Puka. I have a Lockett, Kenneth Walker, and Kupp on the IR. Ooh, that is
there's other
tough.
people you should drop. There's other people that you should have to drop. That's what I would say.
Yeah, I do not want to let Jackson Smith and Jigba hit the waiver wire.
Yeah, there has to be a better person there. Failure
has to be.
I don't think you should be dropping him. Tony, evening, morning, DJ Moore, Zay Flowers. I think we kind of had this question earlier for somebody else. I said DJ Moore.
Yeah, agreed.
Um, coming in.
The only I agreed with you. The only thing I said is like if Mark Andrews doesn't play, then I will go Zay Flowers.
Yeah.
But assuming
Yeah,
Mark
I
does
agree.
play, I'll go DJ Moore. Carlos submitted a super chat, but there's no question. So Carlos, I see your super chat here. It won't let me pull it up because there's no question, but maybe drop a comment, man. I'll try and get to it because you dropped that super chat. Who do I start? Madison, Mostert, or Algier? This is one of those questions where
I don't like this question.
I don't
This is
either,
one
but
of
I
those-
think I lean Alexander Madison here, even though it's a tough matchup.
It's a bad matchup. Exactly. That's what I would go. You hope that something changes here with the Vikings. There is Judy healthy this week? We don't know, Phil. We got to find out with more reports coming out. Any need to hold on Devon Devon, excuse me, in redraft long term. Couple guys I'd rather have on waiver wires. Yeah, I would be dropping. I personally be happy to drop Devon for Puka or for a Tyler Algier. All these players that we kind of been talking about.
Yeah. I'll give you an example though. Like if for most of those players, I'd rather have them over Devon. But Kendrick Bourne, for example, like I'm not picking up Kendrick Bourne. I know he had a great week and dropping Devon. So hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Baker or Stafford this week? I'll go. Jesus.
Baker playing the Bears. Stafford.
I'm going Baker.
Playing the 49ers. So I am going Baker as well.
Yeah. Big sit for me last week was Kenny Pickett. I do not want my quarterback playing that Niners defense. Demont or Breece Hall. I'll go Breece Hall. Very close though.
Puka over London.
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy. Purdy over Jones.
I would go Jones. I think
it's close,
back, but it is close.
I think it's very close. I would say that, but I am going Daniel Jones. Nico Collins or Puka. I'm going Puka. I need depth. I need depth. Yep. Good job, boys. Full PPR. Thank you so much, PL. Mostert, Zay Flowers, DJ Moore. Both DJ Moore, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, we did answer that one. Okay, so Carlos dropped a super chat, and then he dropped a question. So I think he just accidentally didn't put the question in the super chat. So we're going to answer his question because he did super chat $2. His question is, someone just offered me ETN for Debo. Do I do it? My running backs are Henry, Gibbs, Kamara, and Dalvin Cook. My wide receivers are Keenan, DJ Moore, Pickens, and Kendrick Bourne. Here's what I'll say. Does ETN have more value than Debo? Yes, I do believe he does. Yes. Does your wide receiver room need more strength right now than your running back room? Yes. So that's a difficult position for you to be in. Can I ask, is there a way for you to include a wide receiver upgrade in that deal? Right? Can you get ETN and a Jordan Addison and send away Debo and Dalvin Cook? Right? That's when I start to become comfortable with that trade.
Someone just offered me ETN or Debo. Right, okay. Yeah, I would agree there. I think with the wide receiver depth that you have, I don't know if I'm comfortable, especially with Kendrick. I mean, you do have Cooper Kupp if he does come back.
Yeah.
I think you could be okay, but
overall, like I said, I want to do a deal where I upgrade at wide receiver somehow too. But overall, ETN does have more value than Debo. So
than Debo, yeah, I would agree there 100%. So I would do this. Maybe even get ETN on your team, and then sell. As much as I love Henry, sell Derrick Henry, and see what you can get for him, or sell Alvin Kamara. I mean, are you really gonna be starting Alvin Kamara at any point over maybe Gibbs? You will, but like I know Alvin Kamara is suspended. Can you get somebody like one of these wide receivers that didn't have a good week one, and people are maybe somebody lost to J.K. Dobbins, maybe Aaron Jones is gone for them for a couple weeks. There's a couple options you can play. Just gotta feel the market there.
I hope that is helpful. We have another super chat from Soldalarimi. I am probably saying that wrong. He didn't include the question, but I see his question, so we'll answer it for him. He says, sorry, forgot to put in super chat. Should I keep Sky Moore or Tony? And thoughts on trading McLaurin. I don't think you can trade McLaurin for proper value right now after that performance. Agreed. So I would hold McLaurin. I just don't imagine you're getting value in a trade. As far as Sky Moore and Tony, I would ideally hold those guys. Like, okay, another name, Kendrick Bourne. Would you rather have Sky Moore and Tony or Kendrick Bourne? I would prefer the Chiefs wide receivers there.
Yeah, I would agree there. I don't want to drop. As much as it had a terrible week, the bounce back should happen. Week 2 is going to be a whole different week for some of these guys, and I would rather hold. But I think it also depends on who you're dropping it for. You know, like, is Puka there?
Exactly.
Or is some big people available on your waiver wires that I would rather have? We would do that. It just all depends on who is available.
Yeah, so
hopefully that is helpful.
Yeah, so essentially keeping Sky Moore or Tony if there's not like a great option on waiver wire, but if you have a Puka out there, yeah, we'll drop them for Puka.
Agreed.
No worries, Solden. Appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. And I heard Carlos just deleted a message. I think he meant to say that he would be sending away Etienne for Debo, and if that is the case, no, I want to keep Etienne. Right, Etienne, you can get a better wide receiver than Debo for Etienne now.
Than Debo, 100%.
Sing, thank you so much for the super chat, man. Rashad White for Kenneth Walker. I will take Kenneth Walker long term, even though I do think Rashad White has a great matchup this week.
Agreed.
Give me Kenneth Walker. Okay, so we'll go ahead and go back to the next question. That's
10 more minutes here, guys. Just FYI. So if you want your questions answered right away, then go drop a super chat. Jacob, how the boys do this week? Won some money on Underdog. Yeah, I feel good in some of my leagues, so I feel really confident. Jake, pick 2: Zay Flowers, Godwin, and Rashad White. Zay Flowers and I want to say Flowers and Godwin.
I would go Zay Flowers and Rashad White there.
Rashad White is a start there for me, but I think in the PPR, if this is PPR, Jake,
that's fair.
I think I am going Godwin.
Yeah, I don't think
Rashad White is a good start.
Mess that one up. Garrett Wilson for Mark Andrews. Give me Mark Andrews for sure.
Yep, agreed. Got Alpha Burrows and Garrett Wilson for Josh Allen and Christian Watson.
Give me Allen and Watson for sure.
Yep, exactly. Puka start over London. I think we kind of talked about that already.
Puka over London. Yep.
Should I trade Pittman for Miles Sanders? I would rather have Miles Sanders, but maybe it's too early.
I think season long, yes, but I do believe that you could get a better running back than Miles Sanders right now for Michael Pittman. Like, could you explore a Josh Jacobs trade because he had a pretty bad week 1? A Joe Mixon trade, So those are a couple other names I might throw out there in the hat. A Jahmyr Gibbs trade. Anyway.
Yeah. First place in my league. Okay, I had Deontay Johnson, Dobbins. He has Tyreek. I need to replace Deontay. I have London and JSN. So I'm assuming who to start. I said this earlier. I'm giving London some grace. But if you have to,
it would be Jackson for me.
Be giving London some grace. Casey, I have a trade in the hopper. Super flex. Start 11. I get Waddle, but I give up Gibbs and Jameson. I think we answered this question. We said Waddle.
Yep.
Which we were okay with. Carlo, which Ravens running back would you rather have pick up? I will go Gus Edwards.
Same.
I think we answered that as well. Garrett Wilson and Isaiah for Waddle. I think we answered that as well. We said Waddle.
Yep.
Drop AJ Dillon for Mostert, a non-PPR.
Non-PPR, I'll keep Dillon.
Yeah, I'm keeping Dillon as well. How do I sweet talk someone into taking my Garrett Wilson for Waddle? I don't know, brother. You better keep trying. I'm trying to think of that as well. Should I wait for big Garrett Wilson week before trading? I think even if you were to wait, I don't think anyone is going to want to go for that unless he has consistent weeks.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Young says, "Hey guys, love your videos. Thank you so much. It hurts me to sit London this week. Do you guys realistically think the Falcons will run as much?" Yes, I think they will run as much, but I don't think Drake London is not going to he's not going to catch a ball. That's what I will say. And I think that's my thought process there, Chris. I'm not sure about Zach.
Yeah, I think London's going to be better, but I still don't want to start him if I can help it.
And they're just dominating on the ground, so I think that's also a thing. Like if a team is playing against them and they stop the run game, that can be a huge thing for the Falcons to throw the ball more.
I think that is a good point. What I will say is, I totally agree with what you're saying. Keep in mind that last year this team was down by 3 touchdowns in the third quarter. and they were running the ball as if they were up by 3. Right? So I think it makes a ton of sense. I just don't know if they're going to hold up their end of the bargain there. Casey says, Puka is our boy. When is the Puka Nacua victory parade? You guys been repping him since the beginning,
Yeah,
probably
we both loved
within
him.
the first 5 to 10 rookie mocks. Yes. You know, I went back and I looked. The first time we told you guys about Puka was in January of this year over on the Dynasty channel. So hopefully you were subscribed over on the Dynasty channel because you would have already known who Puka was before he went off. Start 2, Garrett Wilson, D-Hop, Cooper, and Mixon.
I feel like it has to be Cooper Mixon.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Cooper Mixon. I think he will have a bounce back. PO, Zach did release a video on Fab about how much that waiver wire
Like
video.
20
so
to
definitely go check that.
30% is what I'd be comfortable spending. But I did say I feel like this is one of those players that, like in your league, someone's probably going to spend like 40, 50% of their fab to get him. So just be aware. But I'm saying I would spend 20 to 30%.
Yeah, Chris Star 2, Garrett Wilson, Nacua, Christian Watson if he plays.
I think I go Wilson and Nacua here.
Yeah, I would go there as well. I mean, if Christian Watson does play, I think I still go Garrett. Well, that's tough.
Yeah,
I
if
need to
Watson plays,
understand
I'm still going Wilson and Nacua.
Jake, do you think Rachaad White inefficiency Sean Tucker could take over?
You
And
know,
if
I
so, should we
I
try to
talked about
move-
this in a video that's going to be released really soon, but here's the funny part about that is the people who are saying Rachaad White's going to lose his job and Sean Tucker's going to be more efficient. Firstly, if you come in as a reliever back, you better be way more efficient because you're not taking the workload that the number one is. Secondly, if you look at the box score from that game, Sean Tucker was not like miles more efficient than Rachaad White. Rachaad White was putrid. He was awful, 2.3 yards per attempt. But Sean Tucker was at 3. So it's not like Sean Tucker's out here averaging like 5 yards per carry or something, you know? There wasn't a running back in Tampa Bay that was efficient on the ground. So to me, the more important number to look at is actually the snap share percentage. Only Josh Jacobs had a higher snap share percentage than Rachaad White in week 1. That to me says they trust Rachaad. So anyway, that's my 2 cents.
No worries. Carlos said, who should I pick? Which tight end should I pick off of waiver wires? Laporta, Musgrave, Hunter Henry, Jake Ferguson. Who out of those 4 should I pick up? I think all these guys should be rostered. I'm personally going Jake Ferguson.
I'm going Henry because of the matchup this week. He faces Miami. And it was good to see Mac Jones throw the ball a lot. I think long term, I probably prefer a Jake Ferguson and a Laporta. But this week, and I think you have to play the tight end almost like streaming a defense, right? Unless you have like a really good one. So I would go Hunter Henry there, but it's very close.
Yeah, it is very close. I like Jake Ferguson long term, so I'm going Jake Ferguson there. Real life.
I love it. Hey guys, heads up. We are going to be live for 3 more minutes. Okay. We said this about 20 minutes ago. We said we're only going to be live for 2 hours. We've tried to answer as many questions as we possibly can. It's inevitable that we won't answer everyone's questions today. I'm just looking at how many are still in there. So if you really do want us to answer a question, drop a super chat because we're not going to be able to get to everyone's questions. We do have to continue with our day here, unfortunately. What are some of the running back targets for A. Rich? Drew says, man, I mean, names like Rachaad White come to mind. Damian Pierce, Miles Sanders, Alexander Madison, Jahmyr Gibbs. Those are some names that come to mind for me. Ray Gamer says Eagles, Browns, Giants, or Broncos defense. As of right now, I'm starting the Eagles.
Yeah. I'm going Eagles, and then I think the next best available there is the Giants.
Yeah, I would go Eagles there too. Yeah. Does it make sense to pick up Jake Moody? Sure, if you need a kicker. Jason Myers, Moody, or Nick Folk. I really don't think it's going to make a huge difference for you there, but I guess I'll go Moody.
Yeah, I'll go Moody as well.
Should I try and move Mike Evans and Algier? There's a video coming out in your morning about Algier, and I'll speak specifically on that.
Same thing with Mike Evans.
Okay, cool.
So definitely be a part of that as well.
Okay. Sit 1, Puka versus the Niners, Flowers at Cincinnati, or Dotson at Denver? That's a really tough question, man.
I'm going
I'm
Flowers
I'm
there.
starting Zay. Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm starting Zay. And I'm starting Puka, so I would sit Dotson. And I'll just say,
Yeah.
like, as a Washington fan, watching us struggle versus the Cardinals, that was very concerning for me. I think any other team in the NFL, we probably lose that game. Gorilla Ked says 10-man PPR waivers.
2 running backs, 2 wide receivers. So pick up 2 running backs or 2 wide receivers.
I would go Gainwell and Kyron, and I would go Puka and Nico Collins.
Nico, agreed.
All right, guys, we have 1 minute left, so we will not get to everyone's questions. I'm so sorry. We have to cut it off at some point. We do appreciate all the love. We've been live for over 2 hours at this point. Appreciate the support. Appreciate the likes. Again, if you have any desperate questions, drop a super chat now because we are ending the stream. I'm sorry. We wish we could have gotten to everyone's questions. What I will say is if you're out there and you really want to know exactly what my thoughts are this week with rankings, we have a resource available to you. Okay? I put my weekly rankings over on the Flock Fantasy website. I just released the article this morning. And in my weekly rankings, I have over 300 players ranked. I consistently update it with news, with injury reports, etc. Quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, defense / special teams. I have starts and sits of the week at each position, and that updates every single week for you guys. So if you do want to have access to that, go ahead and use our promo code LAND when signing up to the Mother Flocker tier over on the Flock Fantasy website. I'll put a direct link in the chat. Again, promo code LAND, LAND. Go ahead, sign up, check that out. And if you want to ask us a question, if you sign up to the Mother Flocker tier, you unlock the Fantasy Hotline, which is a direct DM to us. We'll be offline here. We'll be editing content for you guys. And if you want to drop a question to us, sign up to the Mother Flocker tier. DM us on Discord. We'll get you all set up. Outside of that, I think that's it. You can drop us a follow on Twitter if you like. I'll put my Twitter in there, and I'll put Badaki's as well. So is there anything else I'm missing?
Now, check out, we do have obviously we released our week 2 waiver wire pickups, must pickups. If you guys haven't watched that, go check that out. Week 2 start wide receivers, start and sit wide receivers that Zach released, and then my week 2 start running backs. We released both of those this morning for you guys. So one this morning and then one later on tonight. We did release it for you guys already. So all those 3 videos are out. Make sure you go check that out. And then a lot more content coming out this week, specifically tomorrow and on Thursday for you guys. So stay tuned.
That is it, guys. I'm sorry we weren't able to get to every question. Appreciate you. We'll be live tomorrow again, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Get your question in early there. Maybe Badaki can set up the live stream now and you can go check that out and put your question in first. But that's it. Enjoy the rest of your day. We'll see you soon. Good luck this week.